This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just here ready for the review of AEW All In. What a complex kind of show, just from so many different angles. When you talk about success and we talk about the business of wrestling, like I think it's pretty untouchable in that regard. I think, you know, there was never have I watched a show where it was so much, hey, I like this show overall. Mm-hmm. And then I left the show like, damn, like this shit is like I have lots of questions and concern about the direction of the main events in this company. I was damn near throwing a temper tantrum in the group chats about like what I watched. It was, you know, I was watching it, and it was almost everything I didn't like about the storyline leading into it come to life. What I felt like it was happening the whole time. I felt like these guys were doing their best. We want to be in WWE audition tape right there. This is the biggest main event, or the main event, the biggest show of all time. A chance to be legendary. This is what they gave us. I was just baffled that they would. Put that. No, I'm gonna address this right now. This elite do melodrama, so I don't get it stuff.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Stop this! Stop this! For one, like
they do it differently, and it is not in major disservice of the match. So no, it's not the same thing at all.
We're getting blowaway wrestling from some of that stuff. And two, the MJF Adam Cole thing is clearly fake as fuck. The reason why this shit with the elite works is because everybody knows there's actual years of backstory and them, like, you know, like real life friendship they're playing off. It's not a fake storyline that like they're just doing shit like where they you know, they're showing up eating Chinese food and pretending it's too spicy. Like, nah, not the same at all. Like, and also I've seen this very bad argument, and I'm like, bro, like these niggas were in the middle of the match acting like they didn't want to win.
This match, if you want to make comparisons to things that are more actually apples to apples, as opposed to saying it's all fruit. Let's go to like in WWE. You want to say Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens going to WrestleMania 33. They had a festival of friendship. They had the wacky friendship where they were doing the funny comedy buddies thing. And then eventually it was a turn, and then they fought each other over well, it wasn't a belt because they lost the belt, but they ended up fighting because someone got turned on, right? That match, during the match, like, was a wrestling match. And, like, if you did not know the video package or anything else, you'd say, oh, this was a wrestling match between two heated people or whatever else. What we got in the main event, and I guess this is where we start the show, or like the clip or whatever else, is like, this is a match between two people. Both of them are assholes. One is an asshole that we like. One is an asshole that we don't because he's trying so hard to get booed, even though he should have been cheered a year ago. Whatever. He still got booed. Because the one guy we like is starting to take a liking to him. We like them, and it turned into a bromance, and that's great. Like, I'm okay with the bromance stuff. I just mentioned Jericho and Owens, right? The problem for me is when it turns into basically a rom-com, and it's almost like some 10 Things I Hate About You shit, where like at the very end of it, and we can go through the match, but at the very end of it, MJF is like, wow, this guy really only wanted me for the belt. He was using me, and is like, oh, I was just a job. Well, why don't you just, and he's crying. He's like, why don't you just hit me with the belt and put me out of misery then? And then like Adam Cole is like, I really do like this guy. And I really always kept a guard to him, but I did start to like him. And then they hug again, and whatever, that's fine. The thing for me is like all the stuff in the match of them hemming and hawing on whether or not two grown adults that are friends can fight over the top prize in the promotion. It's like, I see this shit in every other promotion where, yeah, you can. Tokyo Joshi Pro, they go out there and everybody fucking fights their ass off, loses, and then they do? They go up on the fucking stage and they all hug because they were fighting to see who was the best. It's okay to fight to see who's the best. These two were fighting over the love for each other instead of just fighting for who's the best, and then we can figure out if like this thing brings us closer together or not. Like, they did all of that in the service of the friendship was more important than the actual belt. I don't like that. Like, I'm sorry, like that's not. It was the main event. Not only did I not like it, that's something you put in like third from the top or whatever else if that's what you want to do.
Not only did I not like it, I didn't buy it at all. Like, and it was like the whole thing, like when he threw the belt and all that shit, and then the dropping the dialogue during the match.
That's the stuff you want to get into when you talk about the bloodline stuff that we also hate. Like fundamentally, it's not a wrestling match. It's a soap opera.
Felt like I was watching the bloodline.
Yeah,
like all the same complaints I've had about the bloodline stuff all year,
right,
were present here,
right.
And I'm not like, going to come on this show,
right,
and be like, oh, because it's AEW,
right?
Look, and two,
that's what people are doing, and they're looking at us like we're crazy.
And if this is now AEW, then I'm going to treat it as such,
right?
Because like I'm like, hold on, this is not like what happened to the alternative. When we got MJF out here living out his 2005 WWE fantasies out here, and then Adam Cole, known to do some of this stuff in NXT. I'm like, what is this?
This is worse than any NXT match he's ever had, though. Like,
this felt like a bad NXT main event, and it was just like, I just don't get it. And the worst part is, people were going fucking crazy for it, and I was just like,
I'm glad people like it. It's not for me.
Look,
I'm not on the thing where like it's awful. My thing is like, because if you want to compare it to, if you want to compare it to the bloodline stuff, whatever else, one, they haven't done it nearly as much. I think the complaint would be the other promotion is doing it to death, and now you are doing it, so it's derivative. So you want to make a complaint that's perfectly fair.
Like, stop being influenced. Be something else.
The thing for me is like, I wanted to see in front of 80,000 people a match that people could call a classic, not a match that people will come out and say, oh, it's cinema. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I wanted. And like, they gave me that in the first match. Why did the first match, and obviously the first match plays on the second, or the second match plays on the first match with the whole 5-minute thing. But the second that bell rang after the double clothesline, I looked over at Jamie and Zach and I rolled my eyes and said, 5 more minutes. And that's exactly what it did. 5 more minutes, no, we're going to go. And then I was like, and then they started wrestling again, and they started doing the nonsense, and then they pick it up, and I was like, this ain't exactly Shuri versus Utami after the draw, was it?
I saw that Dusty Finish thing, and I was just like, I have like a log where I'm like, yeah, man, this shit ain't hitting. And then I was like, wow, it went from not hitting to sucking. Wow, it went from sucking to awful. Wow, it went from awful to I don't know what the fuck I'm watching anymore. I saw this and I was like, this is what's like representing the main event. Like, wow, like I come out here and watch Will Ospreay an hour earlier come in here and blow the building down. Like, I'm like,
BCC and
like, where's
Eddie
the competition?
Kingston and all them in the Stadium Stampede was awesome. Even like if they missed like half or a quarter of the damn spots, it was still fun as hell.
Every interaction between Omega and Takeshita on fire.
Every interaction between Moxley and Kingston.
Look, and then I got these niggas in t-shirts wrestling in the main event.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, I was just baffled at this, and it was just like the entire it was the entire storyline come to life. And maybe I'm crazy for expecting something else. Maybe I'm crazy for expecting them to go in there and wrestle their ass off and find out who's the better man and beat somebody.
But why? They did it in the first. Why? They did it in the first match. Don't give me a preview match and then completely not even do anything except for one core storyline aspect from the second match. Then you have the part where like it really went into the nuts and bolts of it. Why I also hated some of this stuff. It was like, all right, y'all are being too cute by half over and over and over. You know, like some of the times I get on the Young Bucks stuff for like, okay, somebody's ran into somebody. They must have like the field of vision of 45 degrees, like they're a fucking Sentry in Metal Gear Solid. So the Bryce Remsburg Panama Sunrise Canadian Destroyer.
Oh my god!
For MJF,
when I saw that shit, I was like,
for MJF to get out the way, and then as Adam Cole jumps off, makes a shot for say, "Oh my god, it's not him!" Jumps down upon Bryce Remsburg, and then jumps again to do the Canadian Destroyer, which got caught on camera with the bad camera angle where Bryce Remsburg's head doesn't even come within a foot of the fucking canvas, but he's out for literally like 90 seconds or whatever else. Then the slowest slow count I've ever seen a ref do, and it's telegraphing it like he's definitely not kicking out of this. Crowd goes fucking wild. I'm like, oh my god, this isn't for me. This main event is not for me. The rest of the show, for the most part, this one's where they lost me completely.
It's like, yo, we know who does this. Like, we know what promotion does this. And maybe this is a weird thing with them being in the UK, and the UK is like a bunch of WWE fans who have been trained off of SummerSlam 1992 that were just gonna go crazy or whatever. But man, if this is the direction right here, you're going to get a dramatically different tone, and you're going to get me willing the belt off of MJF. Like, this is ridiculous.
I'm already there.
This is ridiculous.
I'm already there.
Like it's like, nah, man. Like, I hated this match. I hated this match. I think this is one of the worst AEW main events of all time.
Let's go.
I thought this was damn near, it was borderline an embarrassment. Just like knowing like, yo, what these two are capable of. Two, seeing like exactly like the shit that happened at SummerSlam a month ago.
Yeah.
And then WrestleMania before that, and then Elimination Chamber, like all that shit. And it's like, stop being influenced. Like,
look, I'm okay. Look, wrestling will take influence and stuff from everything around them that they see, right? Like, we talk about the elite. The elite is, particularly in Kenny Omega, has been definitely influenced by Joshi Pro Wrestling. I don't care where the influences are from. I don't care. I care about the...
because this shit is supposed to be the alternative.
Let me finish my point.
This is supposed to be the alternative. What are you doing?
Just let me finish my point, Rich. My point is, your influence shouldn't be an exact carbon copy. Your influence should be modulation. If you want to have that match with like all the nonsense of the goofy storyline stuff involved in melodrama, if you want to cut that down 75%, there's a match there. They decided to say, we're going to do more melodrama than actual wrestling or seeing who's the best or get to a sense of desperation via the action. It was all storyline stuff. It was all basically like the goofy storyline stuff they've done on screen put into the ring, and there should be a separation between both, or merging is like this big between both. Like, this was very dissatisfying. And so for me, like, when we talk about like the influence of WWE or whatever else all throughout the show, right? Like, we just got Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, and like they did a contract signing, right? Like, you can get influence from places that you may not like the totality of the stuff they do, or you might like dislike most of the stuff they do, whatever else. But like, that contract signing was fun as fuck. We got those mostly from WWE over all them years. Like, so we can't just say like everything WWE does is shit. And I'm not saying you're saying that. But like, if you're going to take stuff at a time when they're heavy on the cinema wrestling, if you will, the soap opera heavy dialogue, heavy stuff in the wrestling matches, then like, you can't do it basically exactly how they do it, except you do more flips. You can't be Bloodline plus flips. So you mentioned the MJF thing about you're saying he's starting to come to the point where you want to towel off him. After the second that belt ended, I sent a message saying like I want him off the belt. I've had enough. Like this is for a lot of people a satisfying conclusion to the show or whatever else, and I'm okay with them being friends after whatever else. I'm perfectly fine with that. I just hated the match, and like once you throw in like I didn't like the match. And then you look at what happened with the build towards the Four Pillars match, where the match is fire, but the build has people careers being altered negatively. Then you go back to like when he won the belt off Moxie, and his whole thing was about Regal and Regal leaving, and whether or not Moxie was going to convince MJF to actually be a real man for once. And then he finally, and then he doesn't after all because Regal bails him out, and we got an unsatisfying thing. It's like, what did he do at Revolution? I don't even remember what he did at Revolution this year.
Fought Danielson.
That was good. So we're now at like
half of that feud was weird.
Right, because he was spewing a bunch of weird stuff with us. But like the match was fire. So for me, I'm at a point now where it's like, okay, we have now gotten basically close to a year of MJF in the main event title picture, and like he's basically 1 for 4. Based off feud, build, payoff, satisfying conclusion, or you can say he's half, depending on if you like this match or not. But for me, it's like, nah, man, I've seen enough. Like, for me, I haven't disliked a AEW world title reign this much, ever. Like, even the Punk stuff was like, getting to a point where he got injured a lot of ways, but the stuff he was doing on TV and then the matches were satisfying. Like, I felt like we were seeing who was the best or who was the grittiest or all that kind of stuff. This is never about anything. It's always about, oh, he pulls out the ring and decks somebody. Oh, he took the easy way out. Oh, now he's a good guy, even though he won off a fucking roll up in the main event of a building of a show that had 80,000 people in it. I get it. I get it. I know Bret Hartism is rampant all in AEW. You ain't got to recreate that shit, man. Beat that man in the middle. Just beat him in the middle. Look, we still know who the better man is.
Hey, there's a comment that major problem is this is the only thing that's popping. I mean, it's easy to be the only thing that's popping when there's nothing else being booked like around you or getting as much time like this. Like it's easy like to hide like all your best wrestlers in trios matches and multi-man matches while this is the only real singles representation that gets there outside of, a Will Ospreay match or something like that. Like
it's easy. It's
really easy to stand out.
And it's really easy to do that when like you got to blow up a fucking hot thing right after you did it because of apparently visa issues. Another set around. Like all of this stuff is falling upon each other, and it's feeling like a house of cards ready to tumble upon each other. And like at the top is this thing that people like and is really cute and everything. And like I'm glad people like it or whatever else. But like I don't know the sustainability of this whole thing. And like
I'm not concerned about sustainability.
Even if they stay friends, I don't want to see them face the fucking Kingdom. I'm sorry. No. Fuck out of here. Find better opponents.
Aussie Open was out here made to look like goofs.
Kangaroo kick? Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see the smash, but I saw the kick.
And it was just like exactly what I didn't want. And then I was shocked they won. I was like, well, okay. I guess then I was like, well, why'd they do this? And then the whole thing, like with them, still having the belts and they're still friends. I was like, well, what was the point of all this? And it was just like I don't look at these guys and what they're doing and then feel like someone's trying to be the best for the world title.
Nope.
Like, nope. I don't get that. And I don't know. Maybe I'm the one that's messed up for expecting the world title to be like, yo. Some, like I feel like, when I watched the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar feud this year and then like how it paid off and I was like, man, that was almost about true competition. Right. And it was about somebody trying to whoop somebody for I didn't know why they were trying to whoop somebody or whatever.
Definitely didn't because the real answer was because Cody should have had the belt and that should have been over the belt, but they couldn't do that. So they never gave you an explanation because it's WWE. Yeah.
Right. So like when I did that, it's like, okay. And then I contrast that to Roman having the belt. Like, this is how I felt. Yeah. Like, Brewhaven saying, well, if it makes you feel better, we're getting Omega Takeshita. Yes, we are. We're getting it 1 week later instead of in the big stadium.
y'all don't get how, like, all this stuff is kind of weird, man. All this, like, nothing is running, like, optimally in this promotion right now. Even if they, and that lets you know how embarrassing, like,
that's
the amount
before That's before you get to Big CM, settling all scores backstage.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But like nothing, like going into this show, it felt like nothing was running optimally, really. Like, and I'm just sitting like, well, I know I still got, like, for me as a viewer, like I'm still waiting to when we get to, Kingston versus Moxley. I'm still waiting for when we get to Takeshita versus Omega. I'm still waiting to see like what is like the full plan of the Callis stuff versus the Elite and Omega, right? Like those are my things as a fan that I'm still into, whatever else. Like Orange Cassidy and Moxley too, right? But like you mentioned the whole part where like it's not about competition. It's like, and that I'm with you, and like I've given it grace considering that MJF is a heel. So MJF is always talking about taking these out, and he's done it in all his matches. That's why no one ever gets truly wins in any of his stuff in big matches. I'm fine with that. He's a heel. But now this is his babyface turn. And I still couldn't fucking get it. Like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, even when he's a good guy, I still get fucked over. I still have my time just completely wasted by the guy. Great. Cool. That was 30 minutes down the drain. Cool.
Hangman Page can't get booked week to week. And we start with these pre-tapes though. We got these pre-tapes.
Anytime we see Swerve or Moxley, anytime we see Swerve or Penta or Phoenix in a match that you give a damn about, they're coming out to fucking lose at this point too. Like, there's a lot of stuff where like, I know that like this company is not built for everything to be for me. I would just like for some of it to be, at least a section of it. And like, when you do the 80,000, the 80,000 show, and then you have a pay-per-view the week after, so now you have to save like your big guns for the smaller show. It's like, y'all hustling backwards. I get it. Like, you're ahead on tickets, but fuck, man. Now you got a 1 week build to a pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I'm looking at, what's on paper for that before the Moxley match gets announced, and I'm like, this is a one-match show plus Collision. That's what's going on here. But I guess that was the review for the main event. And
hated
it. Try again.
Like, hey, Rich, you still got the from SummerSlam review when you had a notepad or a post-it written up. Do you have that? Yeah. It's got a, I don't think it pull. Oh no, the other side says something on it. Yeah, go to hell. Yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah, I almost wrote one and I didn't know what's, my frame, like if it was going to be inverted or if it was going to be regular. So I didn't know. I was going to write something down. I was like, yo, if this main event it was going to say suck my dick. I hated this shit, bro. But go to hell's a good feeling.
Yeah. I'm sure people liked it. We're gonna.
I'm not mad. Look, I'm not mad at it.
I get it. But I'm sorry. I demand more. Exactly. in the world title matches.
I'm not mad at anybody
I'm not
that
just gonna be like.
I'm not mad at anyone that liked it because personally, like the whole idea of they have like the friendship thing overcomes and MJF is a babyface. I'm good with fundamentally because it's about time for the babyface. I don't like the idea that he's babyface now. He's still giving me shitty finishes. He's still giving me shitty results. We never find out who the actual better person really is. It's a bunch of cheating and two adorable scams trying to con each other with Eddie Guerrero spots and who can top each other. Enough.
Can I address this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm tired of the Eddie Guerrero tributes. Fold it up. We get it at this point. All that. Like, I'm tired of it. We've seen it, bro. It's a wrap. Jesus, man. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? It's too much. Like, I saw like several different parts of this match, and it was just like, what is happening here? What happened to the game I love?
Yeah, that's what I felt, man. I just felt like it's a lot of this is not for me, and it's the main event of their biggest show, and like I've kind of like pretty much every other match has kind of been for me. So like maybe I'm being bratty or whatever else, but like I also feel like damn, bro, like I know people like this. I just disagree. I just fundamentally disagree, and I'm gonna stand on it. Like. I'm standing on ethics. I'm not going for it, man. Just not going for it. Change it up or take the belt off of him. Sorry.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
And now that he's a babyface,
Do his opponent switch now?
Who are his opponents? Or is he going to be really so much doing tag match with Cole that it doesn't matter?
We gonna see.
And like, this is the part that I get back, like when they talk about like everything's working suboptimally compared to where it used to be, right? Like, so Adam Cole, before he got injured and came back, he hurt the Young Bucks by turning on his friends, and then he left because he had a concussion issue or whatever else. Then he comes back, and we're happy to see him because we thought his career may be over, but not because like he did any substantial change. He came back. The only thing that had changed was the time on the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. And then he gets into this, and it's like, so the person that's redeeming him is so a bastard just redeemed another bastard. Not about baby faces. Being nothing but assholes the whole way around. Just because we like them. Okay. Y'all want to do that for other people? Y'all want to go up for other people like this? I guarantee you. Because there's a guy by the name of Phil Brooks. He left. He was an asshole when he left. He came back. Got, controversial 50-50, acts everywhere he goes. I understand that off-screen stuff is definitely more important than the on-screen stuff or whatever else, why people don't like that dude. But you get my point. Is like, there's nothing that CM Punk did on-screen in kayfabe to get that kind of derision. Meanwhile, Adam Cole, MJF, shoot the confetti off, fellas. We got him. Scam artists. Got him. Marks. All of y'all. And like, don't get me wrong. Look, like, you can also say the same thing about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was a heel when he left, came back, and what time he just came back with the Elite. So it's all good. Like, this company needs to take better care of this kind of shit. They don't now, and it's annoying. And then we'll talk about it when we get to.
There's a quality control issue happening somewhere.
Definitely. Like, things are falling through the cracks at rapid pace, and it's becoming less and less enjoyable to follow this shit week to week and try to track all this stuff. It's just literally like, it's just like any other pro wrestling company that you grew up watching. And it didn't used to be like that as far as taking care of characters and where they're going. And it seems like the only person that seems to like really have a pulse on that kind of stuff is like the BCC in Kingston now. It's weird.
All right, let's keep going. So trios match for the AEW World Trios Championships. Billy Gunn and the Acclaim win the belts off of the House of Black, dressing all white. This was my least favorite match of the night, but I didn't think it was anything. I just think these two teams, they've had 3 matches exactly the same. None of them have really achieved any high level or anything. Mm-hmm. I think they just got the winner right because Billy Gunn is really over right now. I was in Duluth. Like, he got a monster pop, and then, like, this whole thing with them winning. It's good to see the Acclaim win the belts and all that, but I didn't really think much of the match personally. Yeah,
I think the problem is that, like, you wish there was a third person be in the ring with the Acclaim that could get heat on them so they could sell, like, they're underdogs, because, like, they're trying to sell the story that they're underdogs, except, like, they have this one guy that's a fucking tank and won't bump for nobody.
I was going to say, Billy Gunn is less active than Togi Makabe.
And so, like, when you have these other 2 guys bumping around that are actual guys that are the people that are the workhorses and they're actually the stars, and then it's like, he's in there with Brody King, and Brody King is taking more bumps than the 60-something-year-old guy. Is like, fuck, man. So, he'll sell for like a half a second, and then next thing he might take the pin or he won't. So, like, yeah, I think that's the issue with these trios matches. It's going to continue to be an issue unless they face, like, other babyface teams.
I think Billy Gunn's got to get on Finesser of the Year for this. Like, work himself into, like, this. He could be a candidate. This retirement angle.
It's a deep year.
Culminate at Wembley, like, to win a belt. Like, man, I feel like that's mighty finesse-ish. So.
It's a deep year.
While not having to bump. Oh, my God. But, yeah, y'all know what time it is. Singles match. Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. Get your tape decks ready. James, while these people doubted, hated, I kind of gave y'all part 1 of this. once we reviewed that contract signing and then just all that. But now I'm going to give y'all the wrestling part. Never count out Chris Jericho. Ever. This match was announced. People wondered, would Chris Jericho be able to keep up with Will Ospreay? I figured this question was answered 5 years ago when he wrestled Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
When Jericho's coming out here doing Dragon Ranas in 2023, getting over the next generation, getting over a future superstar or a current superstar, however you feel about him.
Mm-hmm.
And all he's doing is proving these people wrong about him continuously. When we're talking about finishes, when we're talking about working ability, when we're talking about promos, overall creativity. This man walked in Wembley Stadium, the biggest crowd he's ever performed in front of in his 32-year career. Was he at the absolute peak of his game? No. He wasn't at the best I've ever seen Chris Jericho. But he's the best Chris Jericho he can be right now. I know that for sure. This guy is so fucking phenomenal, and I don't know what it is about Jericho that blinds people like this.
Because he's old, Rich, that's what.
This guy is not Keiji Muto. This guy is not CM Punk. This guy is a contemporary wrestler still. This man is not someone that's just holding on to old shit. This man is coming out here working with all the new people. Partly because it's smart. Because why would he want to be feuding with, no disrespect, like a Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy or Rob Van Dam or somebody that he's worked with years ago.
Yeah.
And all he's doing is putting all these guys over and certifying them and showing that what it's like to really do business out here. Losing clean in the middle. This guy, I wish I could vote for him in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame again. And that's before we get to Will Ospreay. Like, and him just like having this like, this shit was like a human highlight reel effort. Not the best Will Ospreay match or anything like that, but a damn good one. And then like just an overall presentation of just like, yo, this fucking guy, like he's built for this shit and he's been prepared for it for a long time. As far as the Jericho thing, don't ever try him again. He could retire tomorrow and have another Hall of Fame worthy career. He could look back at everything he's did in the last, what I would say, 18 months since Revolution 2022. He's unfuckwittable no matter what y'all try or think about him at all. Like, this guy is incredible. And I don't know, they may never give him his flowers, but I will. And y'all will see people retweeting the video, asking me to send the video out every time something great happens for this dude. And one day, I'm not going to be able to send the video out. And that's okay, because he made me right for a real long time.
Yeah, so I'm just looking through it right now, looking at his cage match from, of like matches that have 8s or higher in the last year. So for the person, for a person that people say is like washed up or is politicking or it doesn't get other people over, you got in the last year, you have the match in the semifinal for the vacant AEW World title because CM Punk and the Elite got into a fucking fight backstage, and all of a sudden you got to get Danielson versus Jericho, right? You have Bandito's first big match in America on television versus Jericho, where Jericho basically like, hey, go do everything you want to do to get yourself over, and I'm right there with you. You got the Danielson and Jericho, Claudio, Sammy Guevara 4-way. You got Jericho versus East, where Jericho blazes his chest and it's a chop battle like crazy. You got the match with Roderick Strong, all around the arena, and then you have this match in Wembley. That's in the last year. So for people that talked about like he's washed up because he couldn't get over Ricky Starks, when like CM Punk can get Ricky Starks over too, but no one hangs that on CM Punk's grave or tombstone, or like that's not the first paragraph of the obituary like people like to make it out to be. So yeah, man, sorry, still real fucking good. And he went out there and he did a bunch of flips with Will Ospreay, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And as you mentioned, like the Stormbreaker counter into the West Coast pop that got rolled through and out of to a reversal for a like a Matchbox pin that Jericho then flips over and then turns it to the Walls Jericho. Like this, for all the stuff that Will Ospreay does, think of that counter and think of all the great Chris Jericho matches. This was a Chris Jericho production. So for all of y'all that want to say is X, Y, or Z, it's been working for 30 fucking years. Sometimes he might have a stinker, but normally he comes right the fuck back and bounces right back like 2, 3 did 4, 5, right? So I'm sorry, like it might just be a Ricky Starks problem. I'm sorry. It might just be a Ricky Starks problem. Like how many times did Ricky Starks should have common denominator where like it doesn't work out for him? Not saying that he's not a valuable guy, a talker, or whatever else. Like, maybe he's just not meant to be a top guy. That's fine. So, yeah, man. Jericho did it again. And Will Ospreay, I thought, has accounted himself as well as anybody has in a short amount of time in AEW since, like, Danielson. I don't think anyone has a record of just coming in and just being awesome every time they're asked to be. And I understand, like, you know, if he comes over here and doing more, maybe that goes down. But, like, that dude... Bro,
when he walked in with that fucking robe and then that music, that presentation, it was like, yo, man, like, if... Like, there are people that, whatever reason, they were holding out on this guy, and some of the stuff's in the ring, some of the stuff's out the ring, or whatever, right? But nah, man, like he's about to overcome all that shit. Like, it's like, yeah, man, we couldn't stop him. Like, no matter what you tried, he's one of those.
Yeah. And, yeah, man, like, I talked about this before on the show in prior times. Like, I think it was around Forbidden Doors when I mentioned this. Like, you look at the presentation of when they bring in Jay White, they barely play the music or whatever else. He runs out and attacks Ricky Starks. It's amazing. Jay White's doing pretty fucking well for himself ever since he got away from Ricky Starks. You ever notice that? He's working with CM Punk and FTR. You ever know? I want to hear people say like Jay White can get over Ricky Starks. Anyway,
drive-bys.
It just came to mind. But Jay White, they brought him out and they didn't treat him like and push him to the top and treat him like he's the biggest thing in the world. But Tony Khan, at every opportunity he has gotten with Will Ospreay, has treated that dude like he's the coolest thing, or he's the hottest thing since sliced bread. And I have noted that over and over and over. And he just got the singles match at Wembley where he beats Jericho. And yeah, man, you know, the free agency thing, whatever else. Look, if it's a debate on if the money is even close or whatever else, like unless WWE is backing up the truck to where it's like it just outpaces to where like he'd be a fool to turn it down. I don't think you can recruit somebody harder. I don't think you can, or better. That's a better word. I don't think you can recruit someone better. He is a top guy that's not in the company. Like, the way I feel about how he is in AEW is like how I felt about Ibushi before he signed all them years. Where it's like, this dude could be the fucking champion if he just put his name to paper. And yeah, absolutely. Once he does, it's a wrap. He's going to be a fucking champion, a world champion. Everything, you know, I whined about, you know, in the opening segment, that shit will be gone. Like, we're getting Will Ospreay championship matches. I don't think Will Ospreay is going to be trying to, you know, drop dialogue in the middle of his main events. Like, that don't seem like the way. So, you know, I just like to mention that hashtag the yen is down. So, the yen's been down for over a year. Y'all are assholes. Oh,
I mean, you know, it's unfortunate. Unfortunate for us. Up next, Coffin Tag Team match, Darby Allin and Sting against Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. This was another match that was a blast. That was just like big stadium entrances for all these guys. Love Swerve's entrance.
Felt like a walkout for Swerve. Felt like he was walking out for a fight.
Yep. DJ Who Kid out there with him. Flash
Doing
Garments,
nothing.
who I met before. Who Kid just dancing around.
Just being on screen.
Hey, Who Kid got a lot of experience doing that. So so it works. But yeah, this was like they did a lot of cool things with Swerve and Sting. I liked their interactions. I liked the Darby's a psychopath. Of course, Swerve came on the Jimmy Rave outfit. Prince Nana from ROH all those years at Wembley Stadium. This got to be a career achievement for him. I was into this one a lot. Some of the stuff with Sting and the bat and the coffin, it was like, oh, these are just spots that were saved up for matches he didn't get to do with the Undertaker. Like,
the baseball bat. That's funny.
So you don't close the casket on me or whatever. But yeah, I was into this one.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's this match is fun as hell, and the thing last week, where the contract signing between Ospreay and Jericho, where Jericho talks about, you looked at the kid Dynamite, and I told you to cut down on some of that shit because you end up in a wheelchair or by a certain age, and like, I'm gonna say it again, Darby, you gotta fucking relax, bro. Dude, like 2 less of those. Like, he's taking all these bumps on this hard ass casket. I'm like, bro, like, I know, I get it. You're a skateboarder, and the wrestling part and the bumping and the wrestling is easier, but like, there's got to be a cost to this on the back end, and the price of that bill gonna be sky high, brother. Please, you I understand you want to be like a comet streaking through the sky, but damn, bro, you ain't got to just completely burn out like this. Because you're gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I know I'm straight edge, but you gonna have to give me one of them perks, brother. you
should see the stuff he does on his off days.
Oh, the stuff he does, like the bungee jumping and stuff.
Oh my god, no, just hanging around at his house, like all the crazy stuff he does. So that story's for another day. But yeah, man, like. I was into this. It was funny because Swerve's like 3 of his dreads were outside the coffin, so people were wondering, like, "Hey, does this mean like he didn't really lose?"
No, no. Zach and Jamie said the same thing, and I was like, "Look, man, you just got to play it as the lock mechanism on the casket. Like the baseball bat's too thick; you can't lock it like a card. Like when you close a car door, you hear the clunk in the click or whatever else. It's like." Once they close that casket door or whatever, or that casket, the dresser out, you can hear the click on the mechanism. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. One thing I also like to point out. Yeah, man. I think we're at a point now where like, it's really cool that Swerve is being put in big matches and big spots all the time, but like, I kind of got to see him win a big one. And I don't think he's won a big one yet, unless I'm mistaken. I think it's a time where he needs to start picking up some wins in these big spots. I understand that like it's Sting, and it's Darby, and it's Wembley, or whatever else. But like now that we're past this, he needs to pick up big wins.
I have a feeling the end of his year is going to be pretty exciting. I feel like I can't guarantee the wins, but I feel like there's something on the horizon here. Right.
But like this is another thing I mean, like as far as like we're dropping the ball on some of this stuff. Like it feels like NXT. We're like, yeah, man, it was awesome. This person, he's going out there, and they keep having these great matches, and they had these great entrances, and they fucking
80,000
lose. They just completely forget that they lost, and they move on to the next takeover, where they go and lose again. So I'm kind of I think they have really stretches really, really thin with Swerve. So maybe people will just keep saying like we like what he does so much that they'll just keep forgiving it. But like, I said the same about Kingston's like he got to win a big fucking match at some point. Like, can we get to that? Please? Like, he's a heel. Let him cheat. Fuck.
I just hope, he had a comfy ride in the casket back to the U.S. I don't know how that all worked and all that. So, But before that, we got, speaking of caskets, the AEW Women's World Title 4-way match. Yeah, man. Before we get to the result and all that, I thought the Saraya entrance was like one of the coolest things, given the circumstances, I've probably seen, this year in wrestling at least. And it was like, that was really nice. Like, she got to walk out there with her whole family at Wembley Stadium. They played the We Will Rock You. Of course, there's, if you're an Emi Sakura fan, you're probably not happy about this or whatever, right? But I just kind of tried to put that aside, and I thought it was a nice moment for her. And then she won the like James. I came on this show, right? I said, yeah, she's gonna be in the match. There's no running from it. Get ready, whatever, right? Deal with it. Essentially, like this is happening. However, I did not think she was gonna win. I was wrong, and however y'all want to take off on this, please do. I feel like we're at the point now. Saraya's a champion now. Cut the division. There's no way in 2023 you can expect Saraya to lead this from an in-ring perspective, unless you don't care about in the ring, which I feel like it's been blatantly displayed now. So many women left off of this show. So many. I saw a great joke from someone in a forum. Said more women were booked to bow to MJF than to wrestle on this show. Now there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on with the questions and all that, and TK ducking and dodging these questions and all that, and the pressers and all that. I have no questions for him because I feel like he gave me the answers. I need no further. I need no further clarification. I need no captions. I need no definitions. None of that. I see what's going on here, and if this is what's going on, I think you might as well just stop. Just get rid of it.
So this would be like the equivalent of it, based off of just outright what's been on television, what they contribute to television on a week-to-week basis. This is like if Ronda Rousey had won at WrestleMania, had won the title at WrestleMania. It's like, for what? Why? This person has done nothing other than like they were stars in a different promotion or a different genre of entertainment. I'm not knocking Saraya. I think she actually is a good manager, but she's a manager nonetheless. And unless you're going to smoke and mirrors this thing with she's in, three-way matches, four-way matches for all the defenses, and she can always, scam her way into keeping and retaining the title, cool. That's just something that's a short-lived type of thing. I see no value in it other than to say, hey, a person that used to be in WWE is a champion. I mean, cool. On this show, you showed Mercedes Moné multiple times. There was talk that she, was going to come in earlier for the LA Forum show earlier in the year. Did not. Went through the Stardom stuff. Got injured during the New Japan of America match. She was at Wembley in a walking brace. I don't think she's close to wrestling because she's still in the fucking brace. It's just yesterday. But whenever she comes in, it will have to be her to save this. It will not be Saraya. But just doubling back to your point about the, Queen We Will Rock You thing. You thought it was cool. I thought, wow, this person with her boyfriend who's anti-trans is in her family that have a lot of weird things about them out there for you to go Google, are walking out to a Freddie Mercury song. I find it quite disgusting. So yeah. And then if you want to throw in the Emi Sakura stuff, is like, look, I'm not saying any of this is intentional. I think a lot of this stuff is coincidental. But if I were a pro wrestler that had a Jay-Z gimmick, and then I'm in AEW for years, I move somewhere far to work more AEW and stay close to the promotion. I work their shows. I have this Jay-Z gimmick, And the last rap show in Madison Square Garden was Jay-Z, I believe the Jay-Z Black Album retirement tour thing that was like the first MSG rap show in like decades, it's like the 80s, right? And AEW finally runs MSG, and I'm off the card. I'm not even flued in. Didn't even get flued out.
She was there.
Oh, she was. Okay, never mind. I take that back. Withdrawn the part where like I'm there. I get to see it. Well, but I can't participate
somewhere else. So I don't know if it was AEW bringing her there.
Okay,
or what.
So maybe she was doing Eve for all we know, right? So I'm in the same city. I'm not allowed to be on screen and do nothing or whatever else. I have all the Jay-Z gimmicks, and then people left and right, up and down this show. Someone comes out to PSA, right? Somebody performs Big Pimpin'. Somebody comes out with their interest gear, and it's a tag team, and they're both wearing black tees and black on black Yankees. I would be fucking furious. Do you understand me? Furious. It is probably just a coincidence, but I feel like I'm being played with. Do I like a game to you? Mr. Tony Khan? I'd be furious if I were her. And look, I'm like I said, it might just be a coincidence, but like they play, and it's also nothing where it's like, how many English bands have ran Wembley over the last 70 years? Everybody kept doing the same one that she does. I'd be hot, 38 hot.
Yeah, man.
That's all. I get it. I don't think it was intentional, but it was fucked up nonetheless.
Yeah. And then this match, surprisingly, I thought the match was just kind of there. I didn't think it was bad or anything.
It was fine.
It was just kind of a match. So, but yeah, I like MJ does PR. They say Emmy to Matt and Nick. Do we have a fucking problem here? Like she corners both of them. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is this? Explain this. And all the people that were upset at Emmy Sakura for all these years for doing the Freddie Mercury gimmick, and she doesn't even do anymore, by the way.
Right, has done it for years now at this point.
And then you had to watch all this, and it was cool. Now I wonder why
hasn't done it since like 2020 or 2019.
Frankie was good, man. But yeah, man. Yeah. That as far as like I feel terrible for Hikaru Shida. And it was like they gave her the couple main events, and then let her win the belt, and then thought there was something going here, but there wasn't. They
put the belt on her to justify her being in the match to help the match quality because Saraya couldn't do it.
And you brought up Mercedes, like there's always been like this want for her and Saraya to run it.
Because the last match Saraya had in WWE was the injury thing with or Sasha in it? Okay.
Yeah, there's always kind of been this want. I personally don't care if that ever happens. If this is the entire justification for putting the belt on Saraya, I think that's a pretty weak and uninspired program to begin Mercedes with. If that's the case, but they didn't show her on there for no reason. They were talking about her all on the pre-show and talking about her challenging for the belt and all this other shit. So like it's gonna happen eventually. Yeah. She was in a walking boot, so didn't make any sense to do anything with her physically. But I thought it was interesting though. I'm interested to see. If the stand accounts will follow her, that she finally showed up.
Look, they talked. Look, they still now hope that was just her, still, doing the flirt eyes with him and everything or whatever else. But when that All Elite when that Mercedes Moné All Elite graphic hits, ooh, look, I'm gonna feel bad for them while also letting y'all know. I feel bad for them because of what I'm gonna do to them. You know how many goddamn in my bookmarks I have saved? She'll never work for that company. Sammy, she'll never work for the company. Hell no, that ain't happening. Are you fans of her? Or are you fan of the E?
We know the truth. Tell the truth. Up next, Stadium Stampede match. Best friends of Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, Penta against the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, who came on the Peacoat, and
all of them
Mike
did. All the
Santana
BCC did. Yeah.
and Ortiz, yeah. The customized ones. This was a
Looking
fucking
real
riot.
villainous.
This was a literal riot in the middle of the stadium, all over this thing. Wild. And it seemed like they thought a lot about who would be pairing off with who, and
right.
everything like that. I was really into this. The Moxley and Orange Cassidy stuff, kind of into it. Some of the booking was perplexing. Like I thought, maybe the finish might have gone a different way. I don't have any problem with who won or anything like that. If it was me,
beat Yuta again.
I don't know. Like maybe you go with maybe you're saving Kingston beating Claudio for something else, but then it's
that's what they're saving it. Like so,
yeah.
Rich. So I have two thoughts in my mind, right? In my mind, I have been the one thing I've been like with this MJF title reign that I've just been holding on to is like when he had his first promo after he mentioned Kingston. I want to get to that. I really, really want to get to that. And maybe it's not in the cards, but like with Grand Slam approaching, like there is definitely a place for Eddie Kingston to get a big win over Moxley or over Claudio in title matches. Like, even if it wasn't like presuming Moxley does win, this Saturday or Sunday, this weekend, like you can set it up and have that there, or you can just do the tried and true Claudio or Kingston finally beats Claudio in Arthur Ashe. People will love that. So for me, like all that kind of stuff that's going on with them, that's what I'm enjoying. I'm glad Kingston's back. I've sorely missed him. And like just anytime you see like Kingston and Moxie on screen, you just feel it like viscerally, like these two, talking about the bromance stuff. These two love each other, but they're so caught up and stubborn. But you know what they're not gonna do? They're not gonna fucking cry and turn their back at each other and ask each other, hit each other with belts and all that kind of stuff. That's not gonna happen.
I feel like the Kingston and Moxley stuff blows Cole and MJF, like blows a hole in it.
And they haven't even, and they've only been like just little takes here and there or whatever else. They haven't even gotten into it. When they get into it, it's gonna be phenomenal. Because it was phenomenal last time.
Yeah. If it was me, you would have to work very hard to convince me to spend half the match like backstage while the match is going on inside of Wembley Stadium. Yeah. You would have to work hard to convince me, like, nah, man, I need to be out there too. So, Kingston had to do that for the walk and all that. But
Claudio, and Penta
like,
doing a wardrobe change.
Yes. Some Keiji Muto shit. They had the ladder break on them and then still got up there and fucking did. I think it was a destroyer or something like that.
Like, fuck that, I'm doing my spot. I ain't come to Wembley and change his gear not to do my spot. I'm giving my spot in.
Freaking Penta putting the skewers in Mox's head.
Yep.
This was like,
I want a lights out match between those two so badly. Like Moxley and Pentagon. I want it so badly.
Why don't they like do that shit in like AAA or some shit? Like that shit would be amazing.
Wherever they do it, I will be there to watch it. Well, not in person, but I'm definitely watching. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I got an awful waffle from Chuck E. T.
Killed that, man.
They had
the glass taped fist. That was awesome.
Yeah. There was a lot of creativity in this thing, and it was real cool to see like Orange Cassidy and the best friends kind of standing tall together, walking out.
Moxley with the Terry Funk joint weapon at the beginning of the match. That was cool.
Yep.
There was so much shit I can't remember all of it, and also the camera direction missed a good chunk of it. And like I've seen a lot of people complain about that.
Yeah.
Those are valid complaints. If that ruined your enjoyment of the show because it was too much stuff going on and it was kind of disorienting and you kept missing the action and they kept cutting from spots right as strikes were happening, whatever else, I get it. I understand that. I just kind of gotten used to, or not used to, but like I've kind of just grown to accept frustration. Like that's going to happen every time they do these multi-man matches, whatever. It's not going to be coordinated well enough. But
I saw
like
the
stuff I did see,
it.
I enjoyed the hell out of.
I saw the Legos for a split second.
Yep, out on the floor. Yep. Also,
yeah.
there was a good sections match in the ring where Moxley just whooped Trent's ass just forever. Just beat the shit out of that man, bleeding to death on all that. Oh, also, we mentioned part. Sue showed up, and then Moxley kissed Sue in the mouth.
Boy.
Do we need... Hey, you talking about we sorely missing storylines in AEW Women's Division. When we on this Sue versus Renee match.
A Sue versus Renee match. My God. I feel like it's got to be awkward the next time they interact with each other. So we will see about that. But
they came back they came back and mounted a comeback off the strength of Sue bringing in cookie sheets, and they whooped these boys, and they got back in the game with the Equalizer, were whooping their ass with cookie sheets. You know what I'm saying? Like, the storytelling ain't got to be. The storytelling can be multifaceted. It could be like, Mom brought the cavalry to the rescue.
You know where they did this? In the mid card, James. That's what they.
Match was awesome, man. Match was awesome. Like, there was a stretch of this show at the beginning, and like the first half show, I was just like, "This is such a great show. I'm having so much fun, so much fun." Like when the opener started and how much I enjoyed the opener, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a real good night," and we still had a really good night. It's just the main event just left a nasty taste in my mouth in the Saraya
taste.
In the Saraya title win was like, I don't know what the point of that was other than to say, "Oh, we did it for her because we're in the UK," and I'm like. So,
what about when
like,
you leave?
if Jamie hadn't got hurt, like, what would have happened?
FTR versus the Young Bucks.
Another.
I feel like we called this one to a T last week when we talked about Brother Cash and his gun issues and everything like that. I think this is the worst match that FTR and the Young Bucks ever had.
I like this match more than the first one. I have to go back and watch, but I did like this more than the first match. This was not better than the second match. You're absolutely right.
No. I still would probably go 4.5 on this though.
Same. I'll probably go 4.5 plus.
So FTR got the win. I felt like this was the this was what was going to happen before anything with the gun. I felt with the gun stuff, it was even more locked in. From here, it didn't feel like
you would have got rid of him. You would have took him off the show.
It felt like the Bucks didn't quite have like the just putting the belt on them. It didn't feel like the right time. So,
Rich, I thought they always just politic and get the belt whenever they want to because they're EVPs. Like what happened during their second reign. Even though it's all because Jeff Hardy can't not drink and drive. We just forget that part. Because we like Jeff Hardy so much. So we gotta it's the Young Bucks' fault that Jeff Hardy is a drunk driver. What?
Amazing. I got bad news for the people for the EVP, all that shit. I'm actually gonna drop I'm glad you brought this up. All the EVPs lost before the sun went down on this show.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to put both of them or all of them. Wrestling Observer Newsletter 2023, most underrated, Kenny Omega. Most underpushed, Kenny Omega. Most underpushed, Young Bucks. Most underpushed, Hangman Page.
Hangman's gonna get some votes on that. He's really like Omega won't. Page absolutely will.
Like, these people need to be pushed harder. Like, I don't feel like I'm being out of line at all asking for this. Like what's going on here? But as far as the match with FTR and the Bucks, like I felt like it was really great, but they were trying to will it to the next like legendary level,
and
it just couldn't get there for whatever reason. I don't know what happened, but
the crowd didn't seem as into it as you would imagine 80,000 people would be, which was kind of strange. I think it may have been because
this thing didn't really have a lot of heat on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it may have been because like they went so light on the build towards it. It was short and sweet, and that's fine because the last time they didn't do that, like they crashed the car. So I'm okay with this, but like the crowd wasn't like into it in the way you would have thought. But either way, still a very great match. Another one in the match guy for the Young Bucks, another one in the match guy for FTR. As they continue to, moonwalk past the Usos and New Day. So yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I also do, like, for one thing I will say, for as much as I rolled my eyes at the love letter to 80s and 90s tag team wrestling that they did in the first match, the part where they brought back the attempted 450 splash to the super kick and for the near fall, and they continued on, I like that touch as a callback to the first match, because that's the only thing I liked about the first match in that kind of way. And then to continue on from there. Like, great match. Another one for both of them. And, here's to another 4 of them between those two teams. Get to a best of 7.
The Bucks didn't shake their hand after the match and they walked out. So that to me tips off like they're going to they're going to either work together, they're going to do business. There's going to be a lot of jobs going on, people going back and forth, working and all that. And, I think the more this goes on.
Working in tandem, working in cooperation. Yeah,
and it was I thought it was great from that standpoint, and it was like it's some 4D chess shit. Like, it's like, yo, we gonna give y'all the biggest win of y'all career. Like, and it's like, how can y'all hate us after that? I mean, they'll find a way, right? But like, or and FTR on and all them, like, man, I don't know if they know what happened.
I hope they're happy.
I don't know if they know what happened.
I think the funny part is, like, I hope they,
like, yeah, fuck yeah.
I think the thing is funny is, like, I hope they're happy, but they're also, like, happy and don't realize that, like, they were, and also don't come to the conclusion that they realize they were wrong all the fucking time, all along anyway. I like that. That's part that I enjoy. Like, I know they're happy, but they also didn't learn the fucking lesson either. It's great. Until it's time for the next time for Dax to whip them up into a frenzy. Wait, what?
Yeah, they beat him clean in the middle. What? There was no double DQ. There was no draw. There was no fuckery.
Right.
What?
Right.
Amazing. But yeah, really liked the match a lot. There was some music that the Young Bucks used as like a pre-song. I don't know what the fuck that was.
I'm assuming that's something that their dad made, because doesn't their dad make most of their stuff?
It sounded like their dad made that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But it was pretty funny.
And then they went out there and they said, "We got a receipt coming for you, Mrs. Sakura." They came on the exact same shit that he used to come out to. Wearing. And folks fucking hated that shit. I was like, why do y'all hate this woman? And then sure enough, y'all must come out. No, that's perfectly fine. Jackasses, all of y'all.
Amazing.
Terrible, man. Terrible people we are as a fandom. Terrible.
Yeah, so I don't know when you do, the next Young Bucks FTR match, but they will be in LA for Full Gear. I think that'd be a nice spot to do it in the Bucks, like, hometown.
Okay.
So from there,
who knows when. You know what I like to see at this point? Now that we've gotten our Aussie Open matches, we got our Briscoe matches, we got our trilogy. Well, no, we've had 2 matches with Aussie Open, I think. We had a trilogy with the Briscoe. We had the 3 matches. We now have a trilogy with the Young Bucks. We've only got 1 Lucha Bros match. I understand the first one didn't go the way that you would like, but, like, hey, man.
Y'all need to redeem yourselves?
Y'all need to redeem yourselves. And it's not like you'll have to drop the belts to Death Triangle, but to Lucha Bros, because all they do is beat Pentagon and Phoenix anyway.
They do that. Aussie Open's out there now, although I think you need to
gotta rehab them after that one.
6-man tag match. Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Kenosuke Takeshita took on the Golden Elite of Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. Big reactions for all these guys. I think Kenny got a great reaction for this, and it was like, I was like, man, why is this second on the card? Why is this not a singles match? Why is it like... It was just hitting me the whole time. It was just like... I mean,
I got an answer for why it went on second.
Oh, inform me.
The same reason why the Young Bucks match went on third. Like, look. Oh, Punk going on first, huh? All right.
You stupid.
All right.
You stupid.
We got some for his ass. We finna go back to back on him and have better matches, and we can move on. And look, look, the way that car started, right? The way that car started, the way we talked about the back half or the first half of the show going in reverse, bro. This show was so fucking good. It just that main event was just
that main event, bro.
And look, if you are a person that liked that main event, this is an all-time show for you, isn't it? If you like this main event, it's an all-time show. Don't you feel that way?
Absolutely. I don't think you got any match of the year contenders or anything, but I think you got lots of like 4-star matches, 4.25, like all up and down this.
Yep. But yeah, man, it felt like one of those really good like Japanese trios matches. Everybody's getting in, everybody's selling past like rivalries and tensions, like the Ibushi and Jay White stuff. When like Ibushi is sitting there eating all them shots, and I'm like, man, watching New Japan Wrestling, we've seen it. You've seen it for years now between Jay White and Ibushi. It's like, Jay, stop.
It'll never work.
Jay, stop. Jay, stop. He's going to rock the fuck out of you. Jay, no. Bow. I was like, you don't learn. You never learned this lesson. Stop hitting that man. He's only even going to make him mad. He's going to take it out of your ass. Stop it. But yeah, man, the Takeshita and Paige stuff was great.
Takeshita thing, I thought every Takeshita, like, the crowd wanted that bad.
Yeah.
And it was just like, they were sounding off, hitting each other hard as fuck. And it was like, I was like, this should be a singles match. This should be a singles match so bad. Like, and it was like, they're not going to get that stage. Like, I know they're going back to Wembley next year, but it was like, nah, man, like a mistake was made here. Like, but whatever. Also, Hangman had a big, hot tag run that he was, and it was like, oh, nice to see Hangman Page, any given day.
It was fun to see. It was fun to see Omega in there with Jay White again after so long.
Yeah,
it was real fun to see. Look, I gotta say it, like, people have been talking about Bang Bang Gang and all that kind of stuff, and we've been down on Juice for a long time on the show. From what I've seen of him on Collision, when I've seen Collision, and last night, like, the dude has found a new role as connective tissue in these tags for Bang Bang Gang, man. Like, I'm calling them Bang Bang Gang because they've actually endeared themselves to me. Like, Jay White, away from the Bullet Club, amazing. Like, so much of the stuff that I did not like about his act and his habits in the ring or whatever else, is like, I'm in America, I can't do that shit no more. And that's kind of like when he first showed up for the first Vendor, when he had the match with Trent. It was like, he's just doing what he does without doing so much of the nonsense, and he's so much more enjoyable to watch when he's not bogged down doing the Bullet Club he shit. So yeah, man, up and onward for all of them. Like, I like the tag team, and like, and Takesha's great. All them dudes went in there were great that night. All of them. I'm not saying this was some blowaway super match, but it was super fun.
Yeah, it was like one of these. It's like something that would be in the middle of a Dominion. Be like, hold on, these guys are all booked, and then they just like roll out of their rock solid, pretty much.
Like, this felt like a match like that they would have put on a Dynamite back in the day, a few weeks out before you get to the Omega Takeshita match.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like.
This ended with Kenny running wild. He gave Jay White possibly the hardest V-trigger I've ever seen at the end of this. Then he got rolled up by Takeshita at the end. Takeshita gets a win. Callis goes crazy on the outside of the ring. I did see a comment. Yes, it is time to get Takeshita some heel music. Takeshita got no reaction when he came out, but I don't think the crowd was that familiar with him. But that's okay. They will be next week.
Yeah.
So
I also wanted to point out with you mentioned the most underrated thing, and I mentioned Adam Page. Bro, Adam Page came out first, followed by Kota Ibushi, who has had a grand total of 2 matches in AEW ever. I'm talking about a former world champion. He had to come out. He's a little bro for a person that's had 2 matches in this promotion. And then out comes Omega, and then the roof blows off. I was like, yeah, man, like, there's something really weird going on with Adam Page over the last, year.
Nah, I don't know, though. You'd rather come out first rather than in the middle. You'd rather come out first. I think you'd rather come out first than be in the sandwich, personally. I
mean, it makes sense for that, but it felt like he was a little broed. Like, I get what you mean as far as the pop. Obviously, the pop's gonna be bigger in for AEW show for Adam Page and Kota Ibushi. I'm just saying, like, as far as presentation, as far as like, you know, the biggest guns come out last. He felt a little bro to me in that situation. That's all. Nothing bad. He's still a star and all that kind of stuff. Whenever they decide to use him as a star, he's still a star. But yeah.
I push the Elite harder,
please.
Like that. It feels like that's always the answer for the Wolves in this promotion. But I'll say it again: push the Elite harder. And I think, you know, I don't think people should be like, you know, I think it's cool that they will, you know, do business for people and be unselfish and everything like that. But like, don't take it for granted. Like, you know, the end of people's primes are right here, right?
Also, they're in the group in the chat talking about Ibushi. Ibushi looks more like the Ibushi we're used to now. He's not. He doesn't.
He's getting there. He looked in better shape than he did in Boston.
Yeah, like he had the one botch when him and Kenny Omega did the double golden triangle moonsaults or whatever else, and he ended up having to turn into a one off the middle rope. But he's still better than when he was just out here missing flat out strikes inside the cage. So like he still looks. So he's looking better.
It looks like there's something going on with him where like he's not like like it seems like he has no peripheral vision or anything. It's like he's not quite like. Just doesn't have that explosion of like and that awareness to him. Like it just feels like he's just gonna need it. Could be he's done.
I think you think he's done? I think he's still great. It's just he's rusty. He has to knock off some of his rust. It's been a long time.
That slip off the ropes scared me, and he did look better in better physical shape. But like I think I've made peace with.
You're never seeing that guy be at his peak again. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, that's true. That's true. His peak was so fucking high though. There's like
it's like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Right.
So like
if you're like you know LeBron in year 21 this coming season, you know he ain't like he used to be. Well, no shit. Like he used to reach back and hit 110 on the gun. Like you know if he hits 95, that's still damn good. You still can't hit it most times.
I think you know are some Kota Ibushi singles matches too much to ask for to work out the rust. You know, could we do that? Well,
who you want to go in there with?
Chris Jericho. Why not?
Oh man, look. I was gonna say like maybe a Takeshita match is like a thing, whatever else, but maybe not. But you know, I don't think he'll be on Saturdays.
I'm gonna say why not Big CM?
And he worried about people getting people doing shoots on him or whatever else. You think he finna get in the ring with the kickboxer, the throat puncher?
Rush versus Ibushi, that'd be interesting. Look, Swerve. Like,
hold on, hey man, look at Brewhaven. Do you see this?
Brewhaven tripping.
No, I think he liked what I said about this individual early in the show, and he wants me to go off again. No, that's bait. That's bait. You're not getting there. Bait. No, you tried. No.
Yep. He knows. See? That's why he's laughing.
Yeah. But
yeah, man. But to the opener. Big CM taking on Samoa Joe.
Yes.
And this was fun.
This match was fun as fuck, and it was like a better version of the match he had with Kojima, where it's just like he's being a ham, he's fully in on taking in the crowd, all the reaction, good and bad, with it, tying it into his matches. You can see him calling the match with Joe throughout or whatever else, and he's having fun with it. And like, I'd much rather see that in the main event than what I saw in the main event. Sorry. Yeah, man. Like, it was fun. Like, Joe, like, I thought they worked at a pace where Joe didn't get blown up at the beginning. Cause, like, that's been an issue with some of these Joe matches, like, in later in his career, is that he runs out of gas early. Say again?
The non-Darby division Joe matches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like this, the matches with, like, Suzuki, like, if you want him to stand in the paint and trade, he can still do that and, you know, make the faces and be super charismatic and be a great facial actor. But it's like, you want him to have a real match, whatever else. If you don't go slow, he'll blow up. And I thought they handled that well. I thought they presented him as a monster, as a huge threat, and just powerful and strong, and Punk, like, bumping and bumbling his ass off for him. And I thought, like, it was hilarious how Punk was selling for him, but also, like, just also still made Joe look credible. And it was super fun, and he was chopping the shit out of Punk. And yeah, man, it was really fun. It was really fun. I like the finish of them going to the Pepsi plunge, because like we saw during the build to this, like a GTS wasn't gonna look good. So he learned the lesson. Was like, nope, did it the first time, didn't like how it looked on camera. Nope, we're not finna embarrass ourselves in Wembley, brother. Not doing it.
I mean, that Pepsi plunge didn't look all great like that too, but it looked like a high impact move.
Did it look better than the GTS?
I mean,
it definitely did. That GTS.
I mean everything looked better than GTS. Saraya looked better than GTS.
The RC Cola plunge. Oh, that's hatred. That ain't number hatred. That's venom. That's venom. That's bile. That's unbecoming. That's unbecoming of you. You're better than that.
But yeah, I thought they kind of just exhibited veteran control of the situation, kind of with working the crowd in a way, and then like just like kind of like the different like stuff they had planned, like the whole deal where he swung them into the announce table, and then he went in there, did his little nick on the forehead or whatever, and then they were walking away from each other and everything like that. CM Punk decided to wear some real gear for like the first time in a long time.
Yeah, his gear was great.
Yeah, like, which I was like, man, this is like this something he would have worn in like 2013 down there. So but CM Punk, calling back to making you think of the past.
Also wore the white because he knew he was going to bleed.
Yeah. He wins, retains the real world championship, but more news broke about him. Apparently, just after during the pre-show, Jack Perry was taking on Hook. They did a back body drop onto the limo glass. Man, Big Jack Perry,
onto the windshield,
yes, on the windshield, and he basically said, real glass, cry me a river. And I popped when I heard that.
Did he say cry me a river?
Yes.
All I heard was real glass, and I popped. Maybe I popped so loud that I couldn't hear what he said after that, because I knew exactly where he was going with that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He said cry me a river, essentially, and then that the reason that whole thing came out was a part of all that damage control that came out around that Hangman deal, and I imagine Jack Perry was like, why are you even putting this out? Why did this get out or whatever? And then he decided to respond in kind here, and this led to Big CM allegedly walking up asking if we had a problem. They got all tangled up, tussled up, shoves, and there was like a choke put on, depending on
a choke or a headlock.
Choke or a headlock
onto Jungle Boy.
Yep.
That's all. That's the only thing we have as far as our facts rate of who stepped up to who or whatever. It was like there was a headlock or a choke applied by CM Punk.
There's some people are saying there was like a sucker punch, and then it was all broken up, and then I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't got the story.
So Zakamaki asked about the real glass spot. If you were just a casual fan, will you know what that is in reference to? Well, here's a question: if you were just a casual fan, will you know what workers' rights was in reference to? No, that don't matter to Punk. Punk don't. He's basically like, do not state anything that is a shot at me. Otherwise, I will not know how to behave. I will not know how to behave. I will act petulant. I will act petty. I will act unprofessional, and it keeps manifesting these ways. And
it's almost like we warned y'all about this.
And the part about it where if that was the actual spot that he basically 86 on Jungle Boy's behalf. I thought that it was gonna be some Goldberg shit where he was gonna bash a side window where it's and it's gonna be he's gonna whatever, but it's a windshield that has the filming on it. It's not gonna break into a million pieces and cut you up that bad compared to what I thought was the thing. So if that was the spot, it was I've seen plenty of wrestlers do that.
I've seen this same guy go on national television and talk about counterfeit bucks and spray painting the X over the E and all this other shit and all this stuff that just everybody got to play dumb and the plausible deniability. But like when it comes his way, you know, I don't know, man. And they had an altercation, and all that, and I don't know. This doesn't make you're this leader, and all that, and you can't holler at the young man or whatever, like all that. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know what y'all want me to say at this point. I feel like I've said it all regarding Big CM the last year or so. Apparently there was also, he threatened to quit. Some are saying like backstage or whatever, and I'm like, you threatened to quit, let him. Like, hey, take your ass to the ring, uphold your commitment to the Samoa Joe match. When you come back here, I'll write this fucking check. If you don't want to be here that bad, go. Like, it seems like such a waste of time. It seems like such a ticking time bomb. They're at least not involved in this one. Can't blame the evil EVPs on this one. Can't rile up the army. They're creating a new enemy in Jack Perry. Like, and Jack Perry is someone that, like, the army, I'll say, has tried to go after, which kind of ended up culminating in him having to turn heel a little bit, right? But
I was unaware of this.
Yeah, like people were like started going after him like with all that stuff because like Jungle Boy's liking tweets like and stuff like that, and it's like, I mean, if y'all want to watch people's likes and all that, cool. I kind of find that I guess that's just something people do, but I don't know. Like that's I don't have a problem with what people like unless it's like some racist or homophobic shit, pretty much. But it's like I don't know what is there to go up for CM Punk for at this point? Like this seems even less justifiable than the last one.
Yeah. Because at least like with that one, it's like you could talk yourself into he's trying to bury me in the dirt sheets, right? With like saying that I'm not actually a good person, right? Because I cost someone their job. This one is I disagree with you over a spot. That's it. That's it. I disagree with you over a spot. Go fuck yourself. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Now, right? Think of all the absolutely insane, dangerous shit that Darby Allin does 5 times a night. Does he go back there and say, hey, cut that shit out? No. But when Jungle Boy wants to do one spot, one time ever, or maybe he was trying to do it twice because of the lead up to this match and then also at Wembley, the response is no. I've seen Darby like torpedo his head towards the mat and the canvas and the concrete 5 times a show. I've seen this dude in that casket match. Like if he could have broken his back 5 different times. No, Punk didn't say to him. He said, "Hey man, if I was a teenager, that'd be my favorite wrestler." What? Where is like the looking outside of yourself and thinking of like the disconnect between these two things? It's weird, man. It's really weird.
You're 45 years old acting like this.
What was the so people made a joke about the My Era thing on 2K this year. How like there's the Magic and Bird era, there's the Jordan era, there is like what is it? I forgot, another era in between the LeBron era, and then there's like the modern era, whatever else.
It was a Kobe era.
It's Kobe era. Okay,
I think the LeBron era, then the modern era.
Right. So the funny thing to me is like when people talk about the modern era, like they showed the pictures of the people in the forefront of the era, right? So like the modern era had like Giannis and Joker and Jimmy Butler, and somebody's joke was that like like when you 45 and it's like when you 35 and you beefing with 25-year-olds, whatever else, shit like that. CM Punk is in his mid 40s and he's beefing with a dude that's in his mid 20s or early 20s.
Unbelievable. I'm only amazed that this isn't over a woman or something, like, because that's what you would think like would be the natural thing. I'm not getting into that speculation with you. You know, look, I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm like, all right, like if these two, like these seem like if those two would have an issue, it would be over like a woman would be one of those limited things that this could possibly be over, right? It's not that. This is, this is, I don't know, man. Like who's telling, like, you know, he has the control over Collision and everything like that. And, you know, we do this on Saturday. We don't do this, you know, you take that shit to Wednesday or whatever. It seems like a lot of mixed messages. A lot of like, yo, who's really my boss? A lot of who's really like in charge of what, you know, we can do, you know, what happened to the creative freedom? You know, what happened to all this? Like, you know, I don't know exactly the glass spot that was denied, but hearing the fight news is pretty disappointing. And it's like, well, what did I think would happen with these guys? You got into it with Ryan Nemeth just last week, kind of the same. Hey, you got a problem? You want to take it outside or whatever situation there. Ryan Nemeth, obviously very low on the totem pole, you know, backs off or whatever. Like, hey man, ain't nothing, you know, ain't nothing doing. And it just seems like a bully. Like, and you know, I know he was in the UFC and all that, and you know, he's a tough guy.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, you know, it's like, all right, man, like beating up Jack Perry don't really like that should not fly. Like what is this? Oh my god, MJ does PR does bring the great point. What did they have to bring in Jay Prince for CM Punk?
See, the thing about that is he doesn't know who Jay Prince is, so like it wouldn't be nearly as so it wouldn't be the straightening that he think it would be until all of a sudden he is getting his ass tied up somewhere. Well, I don't know what happened. Oh, what's going on? Unhand me. Unhand you. Shut up. Yeah.
You know, like Pimp C running around thinking you doing some fly shit. No, man. Like this ain't it. Like, and a lot of this comes down to. It's also a part where like he can do this because like none of the other people that carry weight in his company at a high level are like on them Saturday shows. The bucked against him. So like because of the leadership vacuum that's there, like he has no. He gets the run of the lot. He's the bully when all the other tough kids are like has an other recess. That's kind of what it is. And credit to Jack Perry for standing up to him for himself too. It's like, yo, like, you know, the ultimate confrontation can go how it goes, but like people ain't gonna take this shit, man. Like people gonna be like, yo, you know what? Fuck that. Like I don't and this whole thing is just this thing was like this stuff started coming out during the middle of the show, all this news and all this stuff, and it was just like I can imagine what the backstage environment was, just people on edge, knowing the card structure and all that. Like, you know, Kenny and them about to come out next right after him. The Bucks are coming out after that, and it's like I can imagine what their group chat looked like. So see, I knew he'd do it again.
So wasn't the word that like this happened like before the opener, and then like Punk walked out and then had this match, and then basically after that, like, because the word was that they were both asked to leave Wembley after this, and like Punk had to leave later because obviously he had the match later. Yeah, man, weird, real weird, as you mentioned.
Just a lot, man. Like, and it's like it's saddening. Like it's just I don't know how long this whole thing, you know, is going to go. There's an investigation going. It looks like both these guys.
Another investigation. Was Mega there this time?
No idea. Okay. No idea. But Alvarez said they're likely both off of All Out. So that's like, you know, yeah. Investigations open. Both likely off of All Out. We'll see if that holds. But this shit is like, it's like, bro, like, this shit's like sabotage, man. Like this is sabotage. Like, and
is Tony kind of got to do it again?
Come on, say is it? Look, if he comes out there and strips the real world title, I may be done with this promotion. I say you send.
Is he going? I'm just asking. Is he gonna have to do it? I like how you knew exactly what I meant, because like I was gonna get a whole bit of like, welcome to this week's episode of Dynamite, and then do the whole thing of because of what happened on Saturday's pay per view. I'll be forced to strip the
fake real world title. Get the fuck out of here.
Explain that shit. It's like, wait, bro, this unsanctioned this halfway unsanctioned ass belt.
So
yeah, man,
there are a couple other funny things with this that you got to square. Like, so if CM Punk ends up suspended here, so like, how do they explain CM Punk's real suspension with Ricky Starks' fake one?
I forgot
that why he can't show up.
How long is he fake suspended for? Did they say?
Don't know.
Okay.
I think it got moved back to like 28 days or something, so he could be on All Out. So like, if Ricky Starks loses his match or whatever that maybe he was going to get with CM Punk, I don't know. But you almost got a feel for Ricky Starks there. I'm like, damn. We gonna book you so good, you gonna miss Wembley Stadium, and then I'm gonna fuck this up so you get no match. And James, I've been known to be a conspiratorial man once or twice in my lifetime.
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
You know, I happen to look at the calendar, James. It is August 28th.
Yep.
James, I have seen some of these collision numbers headed down. Like Young Jock on the Titanic this past
And are you
month.
going to point out to me that this past weekend was week 0 of the college football schedule, and that next week we'll have, a big game like, top 10 Florida State versus top 10 Louisiana State University? Is that where you're getting at?
Bingo.
Okay.
So like, did Big CM, decide like, yeah, man, it's time to take myself out the mix. I do not want these ratings tied to me. They already went down, and I could be looking at sub 300, the Caleb Baldwin level out here. Like, at this rate, I put nothing above Big CM. This is sad, man. Like going out sad, man. Like, and it's just like, they expected him to come back. Like, he had to have violated something when he, when he came back. Like, CM Punk's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Same.
And just the hoishness, like, that he's operating with is just like, this ain't honorable. Like, it's not like, yo. Now I know some people are like, yo, what's wrong with a dude settling some shit that someone trying to check him on. I'm like, yo,
this is a place of business,
right? Like how, like, one, grow up. Two, like, it's a lot kind of like when the same kind of tone I took with the Draymond Green Jordan Poole stuff. If you're like the older leader person, or you want to be this, you want that role and all that, like, part of that is like working with the
controlling
people
your emotions and not blowing a stack and resulting in physical violence. And like, yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%. And like, you also can't do the thing where like, plant these things or say these things about like you're okay with physical or with confrontation, and then like next thing you know, like you're like, I think Hangman Page tried to shoot on me. It don't work both ways. If you're okay with physical confrontation, give him a receipt. Move on. If it turns to a tussle, it turns to a tussle. I thought you were okay with confrontation. No, that's something you said. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. If you're gonna talk it, walk it.
Yeah, this is
I mean, that's what it is.
Like that shit don't make me wanna ride for CM Punk at all. That shit is like, yo, he's just trying to ruin this promotion in another different way. Like it's like, nah, man. Like and there's plenty of people, you know, like he's got ideas and things he wants to work with people and shine lights on people in a different way. Like, and that's cool. But bro, this ain't the way. Like all it's gonna do is like affect his career. It's gonna affect Jack Perry's career kind of going forward. Like there's gonna be like this army of people against him kind of now. You know how these things work. Like people don't forget that shit unless they, you know, just kind of get over it or whatever. And it's no,
but that's the thing though. The fans online, they hold on to these grudges worse than the fucking wrestlers do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. Like, you know, like I don't think there's something going on between like some you know heat between Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara going forward, but the fans still hate Guevara's guts, and by all accounts, Guevara did nothing wrong. It's just we like Andrade and Kingston more than that dude, you know, and that's a part of this whole thing of like why these games ain't cool, because like this shit is like turned into these online proxy wars, and like their fans, these people start harassing these people when it's like they didn't do nothing wrong, or they're less in the wrong than the person that they're actually the fans of, but they're too caught in like, you know, the hero worship that like actually acknowledge that like, nah, my fave is an asshole. It's in yeah, man. Shit sucks. Shit sucks. Popularity contest.
So we'll see what the investigation says, what the punishments kind of, you know, and the fallout of this thing. And you know, who knows, maybe that was it for Big CM. So you know,
went out in front of 80,000.
Yeah, what a hell of a way to go out. So and he won, didn't put nobody over either. So bro, he sent that man home with that X Memorial belt, just like Hogan in WCW at the end. Be like, yeah, it had that Hulk Hogan Memorial belt, that fake ass shit. But yeah, man, I don't have anything else. I would probably say overall on the show, I didn't like the main event, but like the rest of the show, it felt like a real big event. They're going back next year.
Do you think that was a wise decision?
You know, I might have let that one ride a little bit. I might have waited 2 years, personally.
Same. Or I would have done All In America instead of London, and like I would have flopped it. I would have been like an American city 1 year, London the next year, and do it like that, because like I'm concerned that like
almost no matter what it's gonna look like, you know, unless you do 80,000 again or whatever. Right. Like it's just gonna look like, oh, it didn't do as much as last year, even though like they sell 65,000 tickets or some shit next year. It's gonna be like, this is failure, and it's like not really, but
it's a task. Like them doing it next year is like for them, like they have to know that like they have to give a real fucking show. They can't come out here and do all these like they have to try to literally put on the show that we thought we were going to get when they first announced it. Like they're gonna try to put on their biggest show. And I'm fine with that. That's if they learn that lesson. They're going to try and come out here and do what they kind of did this year again. It's not going to sell 80,000 tickets. People are going to look at them crazy. Also, the thing I'm concerned about is them doing a summer show in London with all that time out, and then like WWE comes out there and cuss them on a day and be like, we're going to do Clash of the Castle again, like in, I don't know, June or July of next year. And if that happens, and they sell them tickets, and they put them tickets at a reasonable price or whatever, so not, you know, try to, you know, rape the UK fans or whatever else. That shit's going to sell so many tickets, and you know, look around and be like, well, you know, 6 weeks later, 4 months later, or sorry, 6 weeks later, 4 weeks later, I ain't got no, I don't have All In money. So you can look around and be like, oh, so they did, I don't know, 50,000 this year? Still great, but people gonna look like, what's going on here? So, for me, I would have, you know, as you mentioned, every other year would have been a better idea for me.
So we should probably mention the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. It looks like it got announced for Seattle. October 1st, supposed to be in tribute to the first anniversary of Antonio Inoki's death. Supposedly there is a Cork and Hall show that day where a lot of people are booked. Yeah, in New Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think every single person is booked, so I don't know. Like they do have people they use like normally, and so and I don't know like what this show is going to be like as far as who's involved in this and all that. I would think this would be a great show for Bryan Danielson to return on if it was possible. Also, obviously, I'd love to see Swerve in a big match. Darby, Nick Wayne in a big match there. Zach Maki talking about why is AEW doing a Inoki show while he has no history with the promotion. It seems like just clever Tony Khan promoting. Like, if you listen to how he talks sometimes, he'll bring up this point and just repeat it over and over again when he's trying to promote something. And it just seems like, like he used kind of like the same tone of voice when he mentioned the celebrating 100 years of Warner Brothers, whatever. It is, to me, it sounds like the same thing. As far as like, the time with Inoki, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Like when I first heard it, I was like, okay, so like
I don't know if it's as literal as people maybe think it is.
So before I heard the details of it, as far as like, all right, this New Japan show already been booked for Corey Hall October 1st. In the show, like I had some questions about like its location, so I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like the joint show where they do like the Forbidden Door in Japan, right? And then like it seems like the answer is no. I was like, so why did he mention that? And it was like, well, maybe it's just I mentioned it was like, but then again, like that could be where they put Jungle Boy versus Big CM anyway. So they'd be like, you get the shoot fights going right there.
Inokiism?
Yeah, get the Inokiism going. Why not?
We know the UFC or the AEW got Octagon, they could just roll it out, Yeah. What are some of the things they could do? Could they just have Big CM stand in the ring and while the entire roster lines up and comes out and gets slapped like one by one? Could we do that for the Inokiism tribute?
I would like to see what Dana White has to say about like the tributes that Tony Khan will put on to Antonio Inoki when he did slap fight. Like that's all slap fight was. Essence of Inoki is no.
Yes.
Okay.
Can Tony Khan come up and break up a horrible match in the middle of it?
Oh my god!
Like he did to that Luke Gallows.
Who was Gallows wrestling? Who was he wrestling?
Giant Bernard, maybe. I'm not sure. Somebody in the comments will know.
Boy.
But yeah, there's so many things you can do to pay tribute to Antonio Inoki. You can do boxer versus wrestler. You can bring somebody in. That's a boxer.
Ruin their legs.
And kick their legs. What else? You can engage in government corruption and embezzling for the money out of promotion. So many things you can do to honor the legacy of Antonio Inoki.
Look, if you want to really honor the legacy of Antonio Inoki, I believe the last public message he said, I saw it translated. He said that he wants his Japanese brethren to help pick up the litter and get rid of the trash. And like, look, man, if Tony started laying some of these people off, you could say he was getting rid of the trash in honor of Inoki.
Hey, I mean, 80%. We already got
doing the Kenny Omega thing. Okay,
he mentioned 80% of y'all is around. I don't know.
Oh man,
I think about all the things you do to honor Antonio Inoki. You could bring in John Jones, and you can have MJF in there with him, and y'all can put the belt on the line in a shoot. Why not? So many things to do to honor the great and legendary Antonio Inoki.
Yeah. I think I'm tapped out on Inoki jokes. But Yeah, man.
This section was only for Josh Smith.
Yeah, it kind of was. It kind of was. Congratulations, Josh. Hope it made your day.
Oh man. I needed to laugh after that opening segment because, man, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And if I continue to see it, I'm going to get angrier and angrier and angrier.
Oh, you know what we forgot to mention?
What?
How bad Jim Ross was all night until he got taken off.
Let's fucking get it. Jim Ross, you hate the wrestlers in this company. Why don't you just admit it at this point?
He hates what they do, too.
He resents having to call him. He resents being in the position that he's in. He adds nothing to these matches anymore.
He takes away from these matches.
Whining about the referees. Why is everything golden? Yes, I recall that. Just the way he would react to moves. So I believe there was a sequence of moves. I think the Young Bucks kicked out of that was exactly the same that FTR kicked out of, and it was just like when the Young Bucks did the kick out, he was like it was almost like he was pissed they kicked out of it. Like it's like just annoyed, and then it was like they're both babyface teams. Like you're supposed to be talking about, and then like when FTR kicked out of it, he reacted the right way, and it was like, all right, man, I don't know if you're doing this thing like where
they're collision guys.
Yeah, like I don't know like what the fuck's going on here, but he was awful in the opener. He was awful, especially awful in the trios match, and it only culminated in the Bucks and FTR match, and it was just like an absolutely embarrassing display and an audition tape to get him the fuck out of here.
And another part you mentioned how he's bad. Like the reason why he's bad isn't just the part where it's like he is unenthused with the wrestlers and what they're doing, which is like you're supposed to sell these people because it's your fucking job, right? Like whatever. He can't keep track of who the legal man is when they're not even trying to when the wrestlers aren't even trying to like play games and shenanigans to try to dupe you. It's obviously legal people are. He doesn't remember.
He's just whining about it anyway.
Yeah, and either he is out of touch and is lost out there, or he's trying to bury the wrestlers for doing 4 or 2v2 for too long. It's one or the other, or it's both, or not. It can't be one or the other. I'm sorry, that's oxymoron. But like, it's one or the other. But either way, that's stupid and that's dumb. And get the fuck out.
Yeah, it was.
Are you helping or hurting your wrestlers that are in the ring and like the television? Yo, you're hurting, actively hurting. All right, get the fuck off the comms then. Go to the back.
It's just like, bro, like why would you call a match and not try to enhance it? Like, why would you call a match and then like try to like nitpick and be prickly like about everything you're watching? Like you're just pissed. It seems like to be there, and it's just like you want to watch this one way of wrestling. Like you're just this old curmudgeon, and honestly, it's like
that's fine.
Like it's like
do.
Damn, bro. Like I didn't know Ole Anderson was coming up to do commentary, and might as well be.
Log in to Peacock with your app, with your account. Go to the Mid-South section tab or whatever the fuck it is on the WWE Network section of Peacock and go beat off to it. Enough. Either do the job that you're being paid handsomely for or go the fuck away.
Or it's time.
No one's this whole thing of I'm going to take a lot of money to then mail it in. And I can't even say mail it in because what he's doing is more destructive than mailing it in. He's mailing in, he wouldn't point this shit out and try to bury him. He'd just be like, oh, whatever. Don't care. He cares. He cares. He's trying to bury
nothing. Like he would add nothing if he didn't care. Like he's like
right.
Like
we've seen plenty of people be famous.
It's clearly an agenda.
Right. We've seen plenty of people be famous and just take a check and check out. Like Al Michaels is kind of doing that on the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Right. You know, like Letterman, his last few years, late night. Was just going through the motions, right? Hell, Jerry Lawler will have times where he's just going through the motions until all of a sudden he gets taken off the chair, and then someone might be looking to replace him, and then all of a sudden his fastball's back. He's throwing 92
Amazing.
again, right? And then whenever he does he did get a chance to get back in the chair, he go throwing 92 again. It's like we've seen people check out. What he is doing is literally destructive.
Yeah, it's really bad, man. Like, it's like so distracting. Like, for people that are trying to, like, you're invested in these wrestlers, like, you care about this company, and then you hear like this guy who hasn't been around, who just recently came back, just yammering on about like the fucking referee and like the fucking like these are complaints that
has he not been smart enough to the business that Rick Knox is a fucking aloof dummy old person that can't keep up, so to be able to let the wrestlers get away with this stuff because he's not on the ball? Is he unaware that that's a part of that he's in on the joke, that like that's a part of the thing? Like, the ref is a rube. He's
like,
being
it's
used.
not legit competition, man. Like, it's like, bro, I do not care about the police. Like these are complaints from people that don't like that don't like the promotion. Like this is like if I was watching with like a FDS person and they were watching, they would be whining about like the referee and shit like that. Like, it's like, bro, like
I don't even want to hear about FDS person complaining about some referees. I wouldn't even want to hear
tag
from him
rope
after all the nonsense. Kobe, this isn't you. You're gonna kill this fucking guy? Don't do that. Suck my dick. Anyway, let's go. That's the end of it.
It's bad, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
bad, man. He gotta go. Like, no.
Yeah.
Advocating for the police and wrestling.
Complaining about the tag rope. Meanwhile, the tag rope is in and out of the promotion all the goddamn time.
Just a shameful job by Jim Ross. Jesus.
Yep. But at least he got to Wembley. Hopefully not next year. Hopefully they give him a nice send off. He can walk off. He can walk off the announce table and into the sunset.
I hope they book Oklahoma City. I hope they bring out everyone they can to pay tribute to Jim Ross. Bring out whoever you get videos from, whoever you can. Austin, everybody. Like give them some flowers. Give them let them call one match. At that night, let them get a nice little old school match and everything, and let him do his job one last time, and then send him the fuck home.
Now, do you see what Brewhaven wrote in here?
Yes, and gonna move right along.
I said I wish him a goodwill send off and send him off to the sun. I didn't mean to send him off to the up to the upper room. I said off in the sunset, like he's a cowboy. He has a cowboy hat in the westerns. The cowboy wins and then ride off into the sunset. I didn't mean the metaphysical sunset. Relax. I meant like the sunset, like the end of the movie where like they put down Finn or the end, and then you're like, oh, he goes, the guy live on another day. I didn't mean, hey, Jim Ross needs to go ahead and drop dead. Nah, that's not what I meant at all.
They need to give him the finest send off possible. Also, like, he doesn't get tempted to return and undo that shit. We need to give him a first class exit.
Now you see what they're saying now. I'm advocating for him to be sent off, to be shot into space, into the sun. Like he's a villain that how Superman should handle all his villains. Just throw him into the sun.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, evil billionaire genius, or whatever else. You don't want to put hands on him. Simple way to solve that: throw him into the sun. The Joker has contaminated the Gotham water supply again. Throw him into the sun. Jim Ross ain't an eco-terrorist. Relax. I'm not going that far.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, man. I think it's in the show. We got 2 hours out of one event. I think that's pretty good. I think it's
Look
pretty
at
good.
that. Look at that.
Yeah. So next week we'll be here to review the next AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All Out in Chicago. without CM Punk, I'm sure that'll go well. I'm sure the fans will be happy about that.
Is this thing going to drown in CM Punk chants?
It could be.
Maybe.
It could.
I wonder if the Bucks are booked next week.
I hope so.
Same.
Because, like, you know,
we'll get some classic work out the Young Bucks.
Was it game 2 in Chicago?
Yes.
I love that.
They own that fucking building.
I love that energy. CM Punk doing the Kojima stuff and the Samoa Joe stuff with these crowds giving him shit, and he's just eating it up, soaking it in. I love that. I love when wrestlers are like, I'm not scared of you motherfuckers. There's metal detectors in here. What are you gonna do?
Jump the rail.
You gonna sit your ass down and watch me perform? I'm in control of this, not y'all. Yeah, man. So yeah, we'll be there for that. We'll finally get you caught up on all the Stardom. They have pay-per-view this weekend too. So yeah, like another week where like they had a chance to get that main event away from me. If you notice, I'm wearing the Arisa Nakajima Violence Queen shirt. We will talk about that next week as well.
Didn't she wrestle Suri?
She wrestled Suri on the Sealand Anniversary show.
I'm going to need to check
Friday.
that out. See some violence.
I've heard high
far
praise.
away from MJF and Adam Cole, I imagine.
I've heard lots of people say it's the best women's match of the year. You know, and I believe it because it's those two, and I've seen the things they've done to different people. So we'll talk about that next week. But that's in the show.
Yeah. Couple weeks coming up. I don't know exactly the date or whatever. Usually it's around the first week of football season. 11th annual One Nation radio show.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we'll do, but we'll come up with some type of gimmick and, you know, kind of have fun. So, you know, there's always an option of y'all giving us money for that. So, you know, we always accept that. So, but, you know.
Now, it'd be funny if, like, all of a sudden, like, whenever that comes up, like, you put the links to the Cash App and PayPal back on the screen. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to put it back on the screen. Yeah.
But, that's in the show, y'all. Be sure to rate whatever app you're using. Listen to this with. If you want to donate, the Cash App and the PayPal links are not on the screen from the stream, but you can go to the podcast and go to the show notes and find the link to the Red Circle there. You can donate there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, Meet the Press Slam, and the Wrestling Disaster. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.